favor of this request for variation? If you just want to come up to the mic.
Is wishing to build a multiplex that would require the site width requirement of 22.9 meters down to 22.6, the site area requirement of 836.1 square meters down to 689 square meters, and a rear yard requirement of 7.5 meters down to 6 meters. The background, as I just indicated, that the owner would like to build a fourplex multifamily dwelling on an infill lot. And as you can see in the past from previous minutes, council has approved similar requests. The site plan and the sketch are there for your reference, as well as the previous meeting minutes. So, with that said, the application had been circulated to the various city departments. There had been no concerns, and public notices were sent to all property owners within the 100-meter radius, and as you can see, there were no objections. With that said, the administrative recommendation, and I so move, that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve the variation request of Thomas and Dorothea Sawatsky to vary the following in an R3 residential multifamily zone. Site width requirement of 22.9 meters down to 22.6. Site area requirement of 836.1 square meters down to 689 square meters. And rear yard requirement of 7.5 meters down to 6 meters at the property known as 250 Fifth Avenue Northeast, which is legally described as lots 265, 266, Plan 29 in the parish of Portage la Prairie.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments from council? Pretty straightforward. Okay. All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we'll move into Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee. Councillor Massey.
Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee has no report at this point in the meeting.
Thank you. City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. City Planning and Economic Development Committee has nothing at the moment.
Thank you. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Community Services Committee has nothing to report at this point in the meeting.
Thank you. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. Waterworks Committee has nothing to report.
Thank you. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. Transportation has nothing to report in this portion of the meeting.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. Public Safety Committee has nothing to report this evening.
Thank you. We have no items of deferred business. We'll move right into new business. First item is the transfer from reserve for Cocoa Platts Rink Construction, Finance, Legislative, and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship and colleagues. This evening, the issue we are looking at is to transfer some funds for the Cocoa Platts Rink Construction project. And as you may recall, on July 25th, Council approved the construction of our new Cocoa Platts Recreation Center, including the new Community Center building and associated rink and site works. The construction of the Cocoa Platts Community Center building is being fully funded through insurance proceeds. And we thank our insurance provider for being good to work with on this project. And they have received, as part of that settlement, from the fire loss claim through insurance. The issue this evening is that Cocoa Platts Community Club has undertaken significant fundraising efforts to support the construction of the new rink at the site. The total tender awarded for the rink construction was $1,730,000. To date, the club has successfully raised $738,842, resulting in a current funding shortfall of $261,888. So as the project nears completion, anticipated in August of 2025, and to ensure there's adequate funding available to cover any unforeseen or additional costs, it's recommended that a transfer of up to $300,000 be approved from the infrastructure reserve to fully cover the shortfall and provide a modest contingency buffer. And there you'll see the alternatives. So the administrative recommendation, I would move that Council of the City of Portage la Prairie approve a transfer of up to $300,000 from the General Infrastructure Reserve to support the completion of the Cocoa Platts Rink project.
Moved by Councillor Massey, seconded by Councillor Meyer. Any questions or comments from Council? Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Your Worship. I very pleased to bring this forward for Council's consideration. I think this is a real great news project for our community. We had the great work by the local committee, the Cocoa Platts Group, that raised a lot of money for this project. And now, as a city, we are going to put in the rest to make this project a reality. And I think, I want to just make it clear that I think there's two real good things here. The community got involved in this project. This is for all of Portage la Prairie, not just Cocoa Platts. It's a great facility that's going to be used by our community. And I really want to commend our administration for having, this is why we have reserves, is to do these kind of things. And people ask, well, why do you have reserves? Why do you need that? You know, why do you need to tax more sometimes? But we want to make sure we have healthy reserves, and we've done that, and we have due diligence with our reserves, and now we have a project that we can fill in and make come to a completion. So I'm very pleased to support this recommendation. And it's going to be a great facility for our community, for all of Portage la Prairie to benefit from. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Meyer?
Thank you, Your Worship. I also will be supporting this resolution at this point in time as well. As council rep on the committee for the last number of years that was there, I can attest to the work that this committee did to get it to where it is. And it doesn't go unnoticed. I mean, it was an amazing grassroots committee that dedicated their time and effort to be able to make this, as Councillor Massey had indicated, the project that it is. I'm just so thankful that we've got people like that in our community that are able to step up. And I also just want to make it clear to council that although it is a Cocoa Platts rink, which part of our city is called Cocoa Platts, it's not really a Cocoa Platts rink. It's a community rink with a great name. And it, like every other rink, whether it be in the north end, east end, south end, or west end, is fully accessible by any citizen within Portage la Prairie. So first of all, I support it for that reason because it's another recreational facility that we have, and I certainly support it due to the work that the grassroots organization did. And once again, hats off to them, which I know we'll do again when we have that ribbon cutting ceremony. So thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. And I'll just add to that because I do agree that the committee did a great job of fundraising, but I just have to say is a real thank you to both corporate donors and private donors who stepped up to give to Cocoa Platts community clubs, because some pretty substantial financial donations from our business community as well as local residents has made this possible. So amazing. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next item of new business is first reading of bylaw 25-8779, zoning amendment PC 27-25 for Solomon 104 8th Street Northeast. City Planning and Economic Development, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Worship. In front of your council, you'll see a rezoning application by the applicant Caleb Solomon for a rezoning of an R1 or residential single-family zone to an R3 residential multifamily zone. And tonight is whether we would give first reading. First reading happens, we then advertise it, and it does go back to the province for some comments. But the background, in short, is the property in question is at 104 8th Street Northeast in the parish of Portage la Prairie, and as I mentioned, is currently zoned R1. The applicant wishes to rezone R3, and the rationale and intent is to build a triplex on this property. The Portage la Prairie Development Plan states the following, which I'm not going to go through. It does fit within those areas. I just do want to point out one thing for council that I know you're already aware, but when you go to R3, and R3 is defined as multifamily dwelling zone that provides for the development of medium density such as triplexes and fourplexes, and high density such as town or row type dwellings and apartments, and it can also include single family and two family dwellings as well. I do not question the owner intent in any way, shape, or form, but I just want council to be aware that once it does go R3, that's where it does stay, and that there are other permitted uses that can happen. A number of them do require a conditional use to move forward, but that would not come, those would come back to council, but as a permitted use, the other ones wouldn't. And like I say, I certainly do not question the intent and have no reason to believe that that isn't the intent is what it is, but things can change. It says in cases where properties differ from the prevailing patterns of lot size, configuration, and orientation, it may not be possible to provide the same site standards and pattern development in these infill projects as exist in the surrounding neighborhood. But as again, the applicant may not have to bring back any kind of a plan to council at this point. The application had been circulated to various city departments. There had been no concerns. So if first reading takes place, the application will be circulated to the province for review and comment after first reading. The first reading of bylaw number 25-8779 will commence the process as defined in the Planning Act in consideration of this application. So it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie give bylaw number 25-8779 first reading, and that the public notice be provided as defined in section 168 of the Planning Act.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments from anyone? No? All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, our next item of new business is first reading of bylaw 25-8780, zoning amendment PC 30-25 for Sandu at 125 8th Street Southwest. City Planning and Economic Development, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. This is an additional rezoning application, follows similar pattern to the one we just went through, although a different location and of course a different applicant. Same scenario, we are looking at, or the applicant is looking at rezoning from an R1 residential single family zone to an R3 residential multiple family zone. And the property in question is at 125 8th Street Southwest, Lot 36, Plan 935 in the parish of Portage la Prairie. And there is a site map or a Schedule A and a sketch there, as well as what the proposed bylaw would look like. Once again, the Portage la Prairie Development Plan states the following. This does fit within that. The application had been circulated to various city departments with no concerns with the rezoning portion. But moving forward to the future development, there were concerns raised regarding the size and parking of the proposed structure, which will be reviewed at that time. If it does exceed anything and the applicant has to come back for a conditional use of any type or a variance specifically, then that would be dealt with at that point in time. The application will be circulated to the province for review review and comment after the first reading. And the first reading of bylaw 258780 will commence the process as defined in the Planning Act in consideration of this application. That said, it's the administrative recommendation, and I so move that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie give bylaw number 258780 first reading, and that public notice be provided as defined in section 168 of the Planning Act.
Moved by Councillor Meyer, seconded by Councillor Nichols. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, our next item of new business is April building reports. For information only from City Planning and Economic Development, Councillor Meyer. Your favorite time.
Thank you, Your Worship. It is actually. Again, I've been reading these reports for the last 7 years, and I've never tired of one just yet. That also said, Council, first of all, there's two reports here. There's one from the city and, of course, one from the RM. As I've indicated every time, our planning district is regional, so I really refer you to the combined totals as well. As I mentioned earlier as well, every report tells a story. And the story that we follow along for the last while has been very, very similar. You will see last year that there was $279 million, this year's only $5.8 million. We know that the largest portion of that was the industrial new permits, of course, which was related to the hospital. We know that that was a one-off. You take that out of there and you extrapolate it, you're going to start to see that the pattern is continuing to still move forward. New single housing permits are similar to where they were last year at this time. Repairs are maybe down a little bit, but we know once we get into the summer and get into the thing, people start investing back into their own homes. And again, I always like to take the opportunity just to quickly say that anybody that is planning any kind of renovation, please just check with the planning district first. It'll save you an awful lot of grief to see whether a permit is required or not. If you go to the planning district documents, there is a section in there that basically as well says what you do not have to apply for a permit. So it's a really good idea to review that document before you make on any renovations. Commercial is, again, it's a little stagnant at this point in time, but we know that the buildings are under construction, so they've already pulled the permits, and I'll tell you, you can't walk 2 blocks now in this city without seeing some kind of construction going on in and around town, and it's really great to see. In closing, that's pretty much the entirety of the report, and I know we're only, of course, 4 months through the year, but it does look to be on track, and as I say, the reason I get excited is because this is the end result of economic development through our EDO department, planning district, and of course, investment groups and so on that I always talk about. So that's kind of the information there, and if nobody has any questions, that is the end of my report, Madam Worship.
Madam Worship.
Is that what I
Thank you.
just said?
Thank you. Any questions or council?
Sorry. Madam, that's the end of my report, Your Worship.
We've been
Wow.
in meetings all day, in case anybody. Yeah, awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Next item of new business is the award the tender for the Garrick Creek Trailhead Community Services Committee, Councillor SB.
Thank you, Your Worship. As you said, the issue is to award the award of the Garrick Creek Trailhead. It was, to award the tender for the Garrick Creek Trailhead to the company with the highest points as per the city's procurement policy. The tender of the Garrick Creek Trailhead 25 OPS 020 was advertised in Merck's in the city website. The tender closed on May 14th, 2025, and we received the following 2 bids. Elwood McCrory Limited for a bid price of $229,527 and a score of 98.23 points, and Viking Landscaping Inc. $267,000 and a points total of 81.74, and those prices are GST included. This Tender has followed the procurement process that incorporates sustainability factors. Ratings were based on total possible 100 points, awarded with 10 points for sustainability factors and 90 points for pricing. The evaluation does not consider factors such as experience, qualifications, or ability to perform the work, nor past performance. Elwood Macquarie schedule anticipates a start date of July 1st, 2025. However, it will take some time after the award to obtain the performance bond and finalize a contract. The Garrett Creek Trail project includes the following work: site prep, including demolition and removals, excavation, clearing and grubbing, grading, and tree protection, structural, trailhead structure and 3 wayfinding entrance signs, electrical, miscellaneous materials, including wiring, conduit, GFCI receptacle, landscaping, granular surfacing, decorative boulders, signage, benches, timber seating clusters, and topsoil and seeding. The budget for this project was $132,618, and the pricing came in significantly over. Major changes would be needed to reduce the price to the budgeted amount, which would require redesign and retendering that could delay the project significantly. This project has been approved for $75,000 of funding through the Building Sustainable Communities program, of which $20,000 was allocated to the design portion of the project, leaving $55,000 towards construction. If approved, the additional funding would come from available reserves. The alternatives to award the tender for the contract: to not award the tender and change the scope of work prior to retendering, or any other decision council may provide. It is the recommendation that the Council of the City of Portage la Prairie award the Garrett Creek Trailhead contract as specified in Tender 25 OPS 020 to Elwood Macquarie Limited for the tender price of $218,597.14 net of GST, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Espy, seconded by Councillor Doyle. Any questions or comments from council? Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Worship and colleagues. I can't support this recommendation. When you look at the figures and what the tender, or what our budget was and what the tender came in at, that's a significant change in our project here, or cost-wise. I think it should be tabled, deferred back to administration and rework this whole tender, because I just think it's far greater than really it should be coming in, looking at the pictures, and I think we can do better than this, so I won't be supporting the recommendation.
Thank you. Councillor Porter?
I'm going to have to agree with Councillor Massey on that. That's quite a big, significant difference, and so maybe we need to look back on maybe a different look out there that works for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nichols?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm going to agree. I'm not going to support this. I think it's cost prohibitive. I really like the design look, but I'm thinking that we're going to have to rework that a little bit, and the overrun is going to be, in my opinion, needed. I get that with the trailhead but maybe we can rework that design and get it into our budget. I'd look forward then. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you. I'm in agreement that I won't be supporting this at this time. I think the addition of the trailhead there will be a great addition to that space and where it is. But I just can't support when it's so much over what our budget was for this. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Espy?
I'm just going to echo everything everyone has said. It is a significant amount of money over budget, and making a decision like that without at least considering alternatives might be a bit hasty.
Thank you. Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? And that's defeated. Thank you. Okay, next item of new business is to award the tender for the 2025 pavement program. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is to award the the issue is to award the tender of the 2025 pavement program, contract 25 OPS 023. It is the administration recommendation to award the tender for the 2025 pavement program to the company with the highest points as per the city's procurement policy. The background analysis on this is that the tender for the 2025 pavement contract was advertised in Merck's Construction Association of Rural Manitoba, Winnipeg Construction Association, and the city website. Tenders were distributed to 6 contractors, and the tender closed on May 29, 2025, and received the following 2 bids. First one was Maple Leaf Construction Limited for $1 million. Bid price was $1,297,376. $1,297,376.64. Was awarded points at 96.04. Messaging Construction Limited was for $1,555,865.69 was the bid price, and the points were 83.90, and that was GST included. This tender has followed the procurement policy that incorporates sustainability factors, and the ratings were based on total possible 100 points awarded, with 10 points for sustainability factors and 90 points for pricing. The evaluation does not consider factors such as experience, qualifications, ability to perform work, nor past performance. Maple Leaf Construction schedule anticipates the start date of June 16, 2025. However, it will take some time after the award to obtain the performance bond and finalize the contract. The 2025 pavement contract includes the following work. The reconstruction of the Crescent, first one is the reconstruction of the Crescent Road from 4th Street Southwest to 10th Street Southwest. The second one is the asphalt overlay of 6th Avenue from 4th Street Northwest to 8th Street Northwest. Third one is the asphalt overlay of Lorne Avenue from 4th Street Northwest to 10th Street Northwest. Fourth is the asphalt path construction at Simplot Central Park. The fifth one is the asphalt patching on East End Industrial Truck Route and other locations in the city. The overland lay program is the program budget is the $670,000 with an additional $700,000 for road renewals and overlays, $50,000 for the East End Industrial Park road repairs, and $60,000 for the Simplot Park asphalt path, for a total of $1,480,000, with the total lowest contract tender price of $1,235,598.80 net of GST. Our program is just over $244 million under budget, which, $244,000 under budget, which will allow the construction limits to be expanded on both Lorne Avenue overlay and the Crescent Road reconstruction. It is a recommendation resolution that the Council of City of Portage la Prairie award the 2025 pavement contract as specified in tender 25 OPS 023 to Maple Leaf Construction Limited for the tender price of $1,235,598.80 net of GST. And I so move.
Moved by Councillor Porter, seconded by Councillor Espy. Any questions or comments? Councillor Massey?
Thank you, Worship. Just a quick comment, and I know we should talk to the recommendation, but I just want to point out this is additional money in our budget of $700,000. This came from our community building fund. I think this shows the impact that's going to have, and I think it's a credit to this council for bringing forward a 3-year strategy now that we know every year we're going to be doing more work, and it's great to see that the impact on that on our community projects that people have been asking for now that we can now add in with this extra money that we've budgeted every year with no property tax increase, all gas tax money. So I think that shows that, and I support the recommendation.
Thank you. I'm very excited to see the pass at Simplot Park out of all this. That's the one. I think it'll really sort of start to complete that area, which will be very exciting. So, okay. All those in favor? That is carried. Last item of new business is the environmental reserve draw for solid waste carts. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Okay, this is the environmental reserve draw for the solid waste carts. And the issue is to purchase additional solid waste carts and authorize payment for all carts to come from the environmental reserve. So it's the administrative recommendation to authorize the purchase of additional solid waste carts, as well as the withdrawal of funds from the environmental reserve for the purchase and delivery of all solid waste carts. The analysis behind this is the tender for the collection of the residential solid waste was awarded to MWM Environmental on March 10th of 2025. And as part of the tender, the purchase of 4,700 waste carts was included at a cost of $82 per cart for a total of $385,400. The supplier has recommended purchasing additional carts to maintain an adequate supply for new residents. And furthermore, there is a small additional cost for delivering the carts to the individual homes. The total estimate cost for this purchase, including the extra carts and delivery, is approximately $410,000 plus GST, and this is an additional $24,600 to what was awarded previously. The alternatives are to authorize the withdrawal of $410,000 from the environmental reserve, including $24,600 for the purchase of additional carts and the delivery carts to the homes, in addition to the $385,000 that was previously awarded. Or number two, any other direction that council may provide. So it is the recommended resolution that the council of the city of Portage la Prairie authorize the withdrawal of $24,600 for the extra solid waste carts and for delivery carts to the home, in addition to the previous awarded $385,400 for a total of $410,000 to be withdrawn from the environmental reserve for the purchase and delivery of solid waste carts. And I so move.
Moved by Councillor Porter, seconded by Councillor Espy. Any questions or comments? Councillor Doyle?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just a couple questions. Through Your Worship to administration, how many additional carts would this be for the $24,600?
Ms. Lequi-Jobin?
Actually, the larger amount of the 24,000 is for the delivery of the carts. So in the original tender, we hadn't included specific instructions for delivering the carts to the homes. So rather than having the city staff deliver them, we are hoping to have the contractor do that. So that is the larger part. And in addition, it would be about 100 more carts.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All those in favor? And that is carried. We have no items of old business, so we'll adjourn council at 6:37 p.m. and we will move right into committee. I'll call committee to order at 6:37 p.m. Finance, Legislative and Property Committee, Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Your Worship. Finance, Legislative and Property Committee has no specific report in committee, but I do want to just mention a couple of reports, or one report for sure. We had another meeting of the Portage, our hospital foundation, and we're working through our strategic plan. The big thing I think came out of that meeting is, and I think people, is that we have Regency House and we have the Lions Manor as part of our work, and I think people forget that. So we are reaching out to them for projects as well to see, what other things that might be, in the hopper. We still, for me, the biggest thing that we're trying to tackle is getting a better process for getting applications and what we can fund from the Southern Health. And we are inviting our CEO for Southern Health to the next board meeting to see if we can get a better process, because it is time. It takes some time. They have to go through some hoops with the government. And it gets a little frustrating when you have dollars that you can want to get to projects. But so we're trying to get a better system on that, and our executive director has been working on that as well. Our board will be meeting with the CEO at our next board meeting to try to get a better process for projects. But I'm very pleased to represent the city at the foundation. I think there are some exciting times with the new hospital, but it's, again, trying to find now what the need is. Getting a new hospital, which is great, but there are still some needs out there. But keep in mind that we have 2 other facilities that are also part of the work of the foundation. So that's my report on the foundation, Your Worship.
Just a comment on that. I honestly, until you said that, I did not realize that fell into your scope, because I knew there used to be a Lions Prairie Manor Foundation. So things we learn. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know either. That's why I wanted to bring it to your attention. Just one personal little report. I want to just thank council for the support I got running for the FCM Board of Directors. I felt it, and I won't get into all the politics of the whole thing, but it was such a great, rewarding experience to have my own council there. The texts that I got and the comments, and just going out for supper and getting my mind off the election process for a while. So thank you to Portage la Prairie Council and my colleagues.
Congratulations. We're proud of you. Okay, City Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor Meyer.
Thank you, Your Worship. And if I can just add to that, Joe does know. We'll talk about Colin a little bit later. But from City Planning Economic Development Committee, I have nothing myself to report, but I do want to turn the floor over to my colleague, Councillor Massey, who is council representative on the Portage and District Chamber of Commerce, to read a last report.
Thank you, Councillor Meyer and colleagues. We did have a meeting on May 14th, 2025. We covered 14 issues, so we're chipping away at the to-do list, which is great. It was a very good meeting. I think we're going to be having some discussions with the chamber on format and so on, and some of the meetings, and seeing how we can improve them. So the mayor has talked about it with myself, and we'll see if we can look at that format a little bit, but it is a great open communication forum for us, and there's not a lot there that they don't know what's happening at the city, and I think that collaboration, with the chamber is very important. So they ask good questions, and they are very interested in city, and certainly they are one of the most important stakeholders. So, but that was our meeting. Some of the same issues, but some of them we're waiting for provincial approval, or we're working on them. But a lot of them, when we do accomplish it, try to work with them on communication to our residents. So that's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. And if there's no further questions from any other colleague, that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Community Services Committee, Councillor Espy.
Thank you, Your Worship. I don't have anything on my agenda, but I would be remiss if I did not mention the situation in Portage la Prairie recently with the evacuees being here, and send a huge kudos to the city staff that have contributed to managing that situation. And as well, of course, as usual, the PCRC has stepped up and been there for the city again in another capacity. So Ms. Kozar, appreciated you managing that situation, you and your team. And that's all I have on that.
Thank you. And I echo that. Amazing. So thank you. And to all the volunteers you've brought together. Yeah. Awesome. Waterworks Committee, Councillor Nichols.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd just like to take a little bit of a opportunity here, through Your Worship, the council and the public. We had a incident that happened this weekend that with our water supply to our city here in Portage la Prairie, and there's a lot of thanks that need to go out in terms of how it was realized and how it was remediated. First off, the Director of Utility, Carly Friesen, I'll start with that piece, and her staff, who were quick to understand that we had a situation, and it was a mechanical situation that caused us to experience a boil water advisory. Now, Jared Smith got grasp of this and realized that that this is a situation that needed to be handled properly, and reported to drinking water, provincial drinking water, and that was done. And it goes on and on. The work that expediently happened by Jared and his staff to get that message to somebody and people that we were going into this condition here in the city of Portage, our portion of our not only Portage, but the region and the RM. And thank you to Mayor Knox. I know that she is just absolutely phenomenal in terms of messaging, and it came out in a clear, concise manner, and the media was quick to relay our message, and thank you. And I know that our city manager has undergone some quick learning pieces here, and she was alongside of Mayor Knox to get that message out and get it out to not only our residents but our businesses who handled this in a perfect manner. You know, we were chatting, we couldn't really recall a time where Portage had been under any of this type of an advisory before in our past, and the way it was handled and turned around, and again, the test results that we're able to get back in a quick, short time period so we could lift that advisory was nothing short of really, really well done, and very much appreciated in terms of our portfolio. And I know Miss Van Art's sitting there, but she had a part in this as well. And again, to the residents and the businesses and everyone that had a hand in this, I complete thanks. And we're in a better state where we are today and realize where we've been. That's my report for Waterworks.
Thank you. And a kudos to Kathy McGregor too, who it was her long weekend birthday too, and she came in, so
Thank you, Worship. Yes, Kathy.
awesome. Okay. Transportation Committee, Councillor Porter.
Thank you, Worship. Transportation has nothing to report unless somebody else has anything to add to the committee report here. I have nothing.
Oh, thank you. Public Safety Committee, Councillor Doyle.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is part public safety, part transportation, I guess, but we have along Saskatchewan Avenue a couple major projects that are going up, and there's been lots of city crews out doing various flower watering, etc., various construction items throughout the city, which create some additional blind spots that we may not be used to. And with the nice weather here, there's lots of pedestrians out there, lots of kids on bikes. So if everyone can just remember, take it slow around these sites, and just really pay attention to the pedestrians and the kids on bikes, because we wouldn't want an incident to happen. But other than that, I have nothing to report.
Excellent. Okay. Couple of things. It just like to acknowledge around the council table that on Friday, the city raised the flag for Pride Month in our city, making sure that we continue to share the message that everyone is welcome in our community and we support anyone in who they are. Also, just let's talk a little bit about Colin and Joe a little bit. So today, congratulations, Colin. You were elected to the AMM for the Central District to represent the Central District on the AMM board. Joe, congratulations on your FCM seat. I think what this really speaks to is not only your willingness to step up, but it just shows the engagement around this table, right? It's important that people want to learn and understand more about municipalities and how things work, and getting involved is the perfect way to do that. So I know you'll both not, I mean, Joe knows everything about municipalities, but Colin, you'll have the opportunity to learn so much more in a bigger setting too. And I think that not only for your own personal growth, etc., but it just, what it'll bring back to this council is so important. Exactly. And I mean, I feel so connected to FCM now more than I ever have because of just how you keep us up to date on what's happening and keep us involved. And then today again, you know, another counselor stepped up and took on a role with AMM as the something resolutions committee, right? It just shows the engagement around this table, and I know that I appreciate it, and I know that others see it. So congratulations to you all. You will represent us well. And then I just want to give a shout out on top of what Ryan had mentioned about the evacuees. We do have a number of evacuees in our community. At one point, we were at about 600. Now we feel about 400. And those are people that, you know, came here, who they are in a very difficult situation, and what our community has done is just tried to make it the best for them as possible. And just watching, you know, our director of public safety, Mary leading PCRC, our city manager, you know, Miss Van Art, who stepped into to take on this role to help work with the province and all of these other organizations. Department of Families has been amazing to work with. Southern Health, amazing to work with. I just want to say thank you, because I think it's important that we as a community, we protect the people that are here, but we also look at our province as a whole and how can we be a support to people. So kudos to everybody for stepping up. Continuing to wish for rain in our, honestly, across Canada, I'd like it to rain for a full week so we can get some of these people back to their homes. So thank you everybody for stepping up. It's pretty awesome. If nothing else, Councillor Massey.
You are also, Madam Mayor, the chair of the Cities Caucus for AMM, and I know in talking to other mayors about that group, it's changing, and I think your leadership there is to advance our issues of cities, which are in some cases unique, a little different than some other municipalities, but that is a very important role at AMM, and I am so pleased that you've taken that on. So now we've got the whole thing now wrapped up, and we can really push now and get things we want, hopefully for our own community, but also for all municipalities to benefit. And so congratulations on that. I know there's changes happening there.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll adjourn at 6:50 p.m. Thank you, everyone.